Rockford IceHogs forward Colton Dach, a video breakdown with Steve Peters, and yet again, new lines at Blackhawks practice. We'll talk about it next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. We're glad you are with us. We've got a huge show for you today. We're going to start things off with Rockford IceHogs forward Colton Dach. Later in the show, we will welcome Steve Peters, the ALLCITY Network's hockey analyst, senior hockey analyst. Sorry, I want to take the senior. Don't want to take that away from him. He's definitely earned that. And we got some new lines to report and some interesting thoughts from Connor Murphy today after practice. Before we get to Colton, do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you're a diehard, you should know, we'll tell you more about this later, we've got a Black Friday deal going on at store.allcitynetwork.com right now. Look for your code in your email if you're a diehard. But more info on that to come. But without further ado, let's welcome in our guest, Colton Dach, Rockford IceHogs forward. Colton, thanks for taking the time, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on.
Well, you're off to a really good start personally in Rockford, leading the team in shots, scoring goals, playing physically. How are you feeling this season so far?
Yeah, I think, started off hot. Personally, I think, like you said, shooting the puck, I think that's it's a big area of my game. I think we kind of focused on is getting higher quality shots and trying to channel that in and maybe look for a better opportunity if it's not going to be a high quality chance. But I think the team, especially this last week, has found some new strides, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, you had mentioned you're leading the team in shots on goals. That's something I want to talk about because we've had a lot of days talking to Luke Richardson here in Chicago where he's pretty much begging his team to shoot the puck more. Like, how is that to get into that mentality? Like, is it difficult to be a shoot first kind of guy, or is it just let the game dictate itself and when the lane's there, take it?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I've always kind of been a shot first. Just growing up, I'd say we're on the outdoor rink or anything with my brother. He liked to pass the puck, so I'd always be the one kind of shooting. So anytime I kind of get a chance to grip it and rip it, I'm gonna do my best to get it on net.
How you had the 2-goal performance against Texas, the 2 goals in 1 minute. Was that your best stretch of hockey and since coming to the AHL, that 1 minute span?
Yeah, probably for sure. I think the better part was I think our line was +3 in 3 shifts, so that was the real kicker for us. I think we were all we had a lot of chances early on in the first period, and when you're not scoring, it can get a little frustrating. But to finally break through, it was awesome for us as a line, as a team.
Now, that's something that I think it's been documented this year that you've kind of been working on in your game personally. Is we heard in the preseason about playing with emotion but not emotional. How do you feel like you've been doing that this year with kind of playing that way and in that mentality?
Yeah, I think I definitely catch myself sometimes getting frustrated, and I can easily tell when my game's going to dip because of it, and I think there's a big factor in that. And when I'm playing with confidence, I think that's when my game's at its best level, and I got to continue to find that line. And I think I do a really good job of talking with the staff and the mental performance coaches, and we've been kind of talking about finding a place in the rink to reset my mind and just focus on the game and not try and drown out the outside noise and just play.
How do you walk that line, though, of, you want to be a physical player, you're a big player, you're kind of a prototypical power forward, and you want to have that, that physical play. But I think just inherently by playing that way, you're going to get into emotional moments with opponents and, standing up for teammates. Like, how do you, you just said like how kind of after the game you manage it. In game, when you're feeling that frustration mount, what are the techniques you can use to shake that frustration?
Yeah, I think for sure, like me getting in guys' face on the other team, I think that's the emotion I want to play with. That's the kind of the grit I want to have is getting into guys and whether it's chirping or being physical, but just kind of getting engaged. I think that's when my game takes itself to another level. I think the part where I want to drown out is coming back to the bench frustrated and kind of saying, we should have done this, we should have done that, and kind of just live with it and take the next shift on and kind of have a reset moment on the bench. And talking with my line mates is always a huge help. And our line with Gutman and Slaggert, they do an unbelievable job of working and getting pucks back, and Slag's feet's always moving. So kind of just getting into a battle the next shift, I think that's the biggest reset for me, and trying to get that engagement level up.
Been on the line with Landon Slaggert for quite a bit, and I think part of the unique thing about this season in particular is so many guys down there in Rockford that are going to be looked upon to be big parts of the success in Chicago in the near future. How is that, kind of knowing that and building chemistry with your teammates, knowing that you guys are on the same journey, hopefully together to the NHL?
Yeah, for sure. I think we watch a lot of the games, whether we go and hang out at a guy's place and watch a lot of the Hawks games. But I think for us, it's competitive, but it's a friendship as well. So I think being there and playing on a line with Landon, or going against Frank in practice, every other game or every other day, is something that builds that competitiveness between us. But it's also, we want the other person to succeed. And Frank's doing an unbelievable job and and putting the puck in the net. And I think watching, the biggest thing I noticed is his defensive game has taken a huge stride. And the way he back checks and strips the guys of pucks when they're not really paying attention is something I've picked up on, and his game is unbelievable.
You mentioned all these guys who are in the plans for the future. Who have you seen in terms of future Blackhawks prospects that have stepped up in a leadership role? Who are the guys that are vocal and taking command in Rockford?
Yeah, I think Ethan Delmastro has done an unbelievable job. He's part of our leadership group down here, and kind of being a little bit closer to him more than a lot of guys down here. We kind of talk a lot more, and just to see how he steps up. And he's a funny guy to be around. He's a fun guy off the ice, but to see the way he steps up and is vocal in the dressing room. And he's only his second year, and the way he's leading some of the young guys on our team is unbelievable to watch. And I learn a lot from him as well, just seeing the way he acts at the rink, and he's being a professional, and trying to emulate that in my game.
You guys are all kind of coming up together, this young group of players, and this IceHogs team is actually by average age younger than last year's team. It's kind of had a new group of guys come in with guys like Paul Ludwinski and Samuel Savoie. Does it feel like still kind of like one of those like junior teams or like one of the national teams that you played on, with having so many young guys still like on the roster, and like that emphasis on like development and everything? Does it still kind of feel like one of those younger teams rather than like being like a set like pro AHL like locker room?
It definitely feels different than last year. I'll say that for sure. I don't know whether it was just being a first year last year, but no, I think the young guys are unbelievable. I think you guys said Savoy. He's a character, and he's awesome in the dressing room. He's loved by every single one of the guys. It's awesome to see the energy they bring, and it's awesome to see that that they don't try and hide their personalities. They're right out in front and they're talking, which is unbelievable. And I think that's something in my area where if I when I was a first year, I would be a little scared or intimidated to talk a little bit. But I love it to see that they have the confidence to come in and goof around in the locker room, but know when to take it serious and be those guys that the three of them, Gavin Hayes and Luddy and Savvy, do an unbelievable job, on the ice, and watching them take over shifts. And they were our best line for a little bit there, and watching the offensive chances they get by just moving their feet and creating offense is unbelievable to watch.
I know the last couple of years, development camp has been off ice. There hasn't been a an on ice element to the game, and a lot of time is spent bonding. Spending time together as teammates and those sort of things. Yeah, you've got your meetings and your film reviews and all that, but it's all about spending time together. Have you felt that that those sessions have gone to help grow a little bit of closeness between the guys?
100%. I think my first in-person development camp was, we were on the ice, and I remember we'd get back to the hotel at like 4 o'clock ish, and guys were be so tired they'd be taking a nap and then order dinner or something like that. And I remember the last one I was at, we were always going for dinners together, and with new people, getting to know everyone. I think that just helps, especially with these young guys coming in, to feel comfortable around everyone. And our older guys here do a great job making them feel welcome and just making them feel a part of the team. And I think that's the biggest thing, is these road trips we've had, getting together and going for dinners or just hanging out in each other's rooms, having a movie night or something like that is the biggest part.
Of course, a lot of the tension down there in Rockford has been on Artyom Levshunov this year. Of course, the number 2 overall pick. You get to face him every day in practice. What have been your impressions of him on the ice, having to go one-on-one against him?
Yeah, he's he's pretty physical in practice. He showed that today. We had some battle drills, and I think for him, he's very, his patience is something I notice a lot, and he's very patient. He makes, he's making the right play, and I think for him, he's, his last game in Texas, I thought was probably one of his best games. He was, moving the puck up, he was getting into guys and being engaged. And I think that's when he's playing like that, he's going to be a hard hard guy to go against.
Have you learned about him off the ice? Is he as much of the arty party as fans have come to name him?
He's a quiet kid. I got to sit beside him on the plane. We got to talk a little bit, but he definitely is quiet. I mean, it's not easy being not having English as your first language and around guys like this, but he does a good job of trying to fit in and coming out with us, and just talking to him a little bit on the plane. You can kind of sense he's got that funny side to him. He likes to act off a little bit, and kind of gave me a few chuckles on the plane. But I think he's a great kid. I think he wants to learn and wants to be the best player he can be.
Well, Hawks fans are really chomping at the bit for you to come and join the big club. They think it's time for your opportunity. And what sort of stuff do you hear from Chicago? Do you talk to Kyle Davidson, the development staff, about, hey, be patient, or it's going to happen soon, or do you just kind of have to just keep doing your thing?
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job of having the development staff down here. I think pretty much every practice we're doing stuff with them and talking with them. I think for me, my biggest thing is just moving my feet and playing fast. And we have a lot of emphasis on my first 4 strides, and just kind of focusing on those, and being physical where I can, but making the right plays, and being smart in the D zone. I think when I'm playing, those are all being consistent plays, and I just gotta continue to do that day in and day out. And then I think my time will come, but I definitely wanna keep working at it.
When you get here, shoot. We want you to shoot the puck.
Keep that going. Yeah.
And scoring goals is not selfish. This is please send this to all the guys you have in your text chain that are in Chicago. Send that message, because we've seen a lot of deferring. I think that happens when struggles are happening, right? Like you're overthinking a little bit, and you're trying to do maybe a little more than you should. I think that's what we're seeing in the big club. So hopefully Colton Dach, the call up comes soon for you. We get to see it, but keep doing what you're doing in Rockford, man. We appreciate your time, and we'll hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, no, thank you guys very much.
All right, that is Rockford IceHogs forward and future Blackhawk someday
soon, probably
tomorrow, next week, a couple months.
Tomorrow,
Colton Dach.
3 days
tomorrow. Breaking news, Colton, you're coming up.
Yeah, we want to be the ones to tell you, but no, it's I get why Hawks fans are excited, because he's doing great. He's kind of exactly what this team needs in terms of stature and style of play and everything. So we'll see. I think it'll be maybe not imminent, but soon for Colton Dach.
Yeah, if you're hedging your bet, I'd say by the end of this season, he'll play NHL games one way or another.
Pagnota with that. It may not be soon.
Yeah, maybe not soon, maybe not distant, but
yes,
sources are telling me that he does play hockey.
Yeah.
Wow. 6,000 likes.
Indications. Yeah.
All right, we got to hit the break zone. We'll be back with your super chats and the latest from Hawks practice on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
And hey, if you're looking to find the perfect way to elevate your day, why not check out our friends at Verilife and the Verilife Dispensary. They have everything that you need, from premium cannabis products to expert advice. Whether you're new to cannabis or a connoisseur, their knowledgeable bud tenders are here to help. With 8 convenient locations across Illinois, discovering your perfect experience has never been easier. Verilife proudly offers a price match guarantee, ensuring that you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. So don't miss out on their latest deals and exclusive offers only at Verilife Cannabis stores and online at verilife.com. When you go to verilife.com and you mention the code CHGO25, if you do that in store, you'll receive 25% off of regular priced items. Restrictions do apply. Cannot confirm nor deny that I went to Verilife before reading that.
Well, there's evidence.
Speaking of Pagnota.
There's evidence. I did not choose chill before the show, but as soon as I get home tonight, I am going to choose chill. And when I do, and when we do, we choose Coors Light. It is the perfect choice when you are choosing chill. And we know now there are more opportunities than ever these days where we need to. Maybe someone cut you off on the road. Instead of running them down and giving them the finger and running them off the road, just chill out, take a deep breath. Consult with Colton Dach's mental health coordinators in Rockford. It's working for him. Yeah. And go home, take a deep breath, and crack open a Coors Light. Of course, once you are home, there it is. It's mountain cold refreshment, as crisp and refreshing as your Colorado Rockies. So when you embrace the chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. And you can get Coors Light delivered to your door right damn now with Instacart. Just go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey, and it'll be there momentarily. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Got a super chat we want to hit here before we get to the news from practice. Bragi says, can we expect Bedard and Dach in the lineup this season? Well, I think chances are if Colton Dach is called up, that at one point, someday the line blender will be hit and Colton Dach will be up there. Everybody else has gotten a chance.
They had some run in the preseason, I think, and in the rookie showcase as well. I believe the Tom Curvers, not this past one, but the one before that, I believe they played on the same line. So there's something there. Yeah, again, if we're making the vague statement, there's a likelihood that if Colton Dach is playing, he'll get some ice time with Connor Bedard.
Yes. Everyone's getting ice time with everyone.
Why
Except Bertuzzi, Bedard,
and Teravainen.
Yeah. So your lines from today. Oh boy. Here they are. I'm not mad about these. These make a lot more sense than what we've been seeing. Your top line is Bedard with Hall and Kurashev, Donato between Bertuzzi and Teravainen, Dickinson centering Mikheyev and Foligno, and Reichel with Maroon and Smith. Your D pairs are Vlasic and Murphy, Kaiser and Martinez, Allen and Brody, Mrazek and Soderblom are your goalies, of course, and your scratches tomorrow look to be Joey Anderson and Louis Crevier. So I'm into this.
Go from Connor Bedard's winger to scratched in a game. But
that's the life. Is life of these Blackhawks.
That's the life of being one of those fringe guys.
Yep.
I'm fine with these lines. Just let them go for 3, 4, 5 games in a row.
Exactly. Even if they don't work.
Right. These lines make sense compared to some of the stuff we've had to watch the last couple games. Don't mess with that fourth line. I like putting Dickinson, Foligno, Mikheyev as your defensive line. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. You got your top 6. Just let those lines play for 2, 3, 4 games in a row.
I'm gonna make up a phrase. Let them cook.
Sure. Ooh, I like that.
I think
Yeah,
that
no
might
one's ever
catch
said
on
that
with the
before.
kids.
Someone tell
I
Emma.
never heard that.
Yep.
Yes, just let them see what they can do.
It's the most, I'd say, balanced as far as like a stereotypical lineup in the forwards group goes. It's I think it's your most balanced, unless the one change you could do is put Kurashev, flip Kurashev or not Kurashev. Yeah, Kurashev and Teravainen. Flip those guys. What am I looking at? No. Bedard.
Verilife, everybody.
Bedard and
25% off.
Donato. I am
Can confirm.
I
Mario
am
used his
so
25%
hungry, and
off
I had
code. That's
I had
Verilife.
3 coffees today. It's not a good matchup.
That's 3 coffees.
Yes.
Wow.
Donato and Bedard, if you were to flip those two, you'd have Bertuzzi, Bedard, Teravainen, Hall, Donato, Kurashev, or Kurashev and Donato. You could flip-flop them in the center spot. I think that is you're looking for completely, like, scoring line. Secondary scoring line, third defensive, and then your fourth line, which apparently has been your scoring line. I think that's where you would kind of line up everything. But, yeah, I agree. This looks balanced. Let it go for a little bit. And I think today with Luke, what he was saying about, we're trying to find scoring, we're trying to find this, we're trying to, playing the analytics game, playing the matchup game. Changing it up just because something didn't work one time, I think is becoming a fault of this team. So, yeah, let's see this group go tomorrow and Friday and see what happens.
Changing based on the opponent, it's logical, but no one does that.
Very few.
It maybe you put in maybe if it's a game where you're playing like a really fast team, you scratch Pat Maroon and put in Joey Anderson or something like that. You don't completely revamp your lines. You've got to let these guys play together.
Right.
You can't get chemistry without the opportunity to be together. It doesn't just happen.
You can't find a balanced attack when nobody is scoring.
Right.
And you can't also get guys going when you're playing with different people every day. Like, I don't mind changing lines, changing a line, like a piece of a line.
Yeah.
Like taking the left winger off the first line and putting him on and swapping out. But to just do wholesale line changes for every game, it's even not even a game. Like, okay, I'm not even going to be greedy with these lines. Play these lines the entire game tomorrow night. Let's start there.
Right.
Let's start there. Keep these lines together tomorrow night against the Stars and see what happens. Use that line, use it again against Minnesota, and then Sunday you play again. Like, you have 4 games in 6 days here, 5 days, like with not a lot of practice time in between. These are your lines. You practice them 2 days in a row. This next stretch between tomorrow and next Monday, those 4 games, play them out and see what happens. And then you can tinker if you need to.
Yeah. Landon in the chat says, not to say Bedard can't retrieve pucks himself, but he's not Superman. He can't do every single thing on his line. That's how you get out of gas by the third. I will say, Bedard, if you look at and Scott Powers wrote about it today, like kind of the micro stats about Connor Bedard, the micro analytics, he is an off the rush creator.
Yeah.
So that's why
mainly
playing with Taylor Hall makes a lot of sense for Connor Bedard because they're both guys that create off the rush. Kurashev did a fine enough job last year of going out and digging pucks. Now I know Nick Foligno was with them a lot last year too, but Kurashev is willing to do it. But I think a lot of what you're going to see from this line is rush creation. The puck's going the other way, and they create a chance by crisscrossing, drop passing, those sort of things. You'd love to see some sustained zone time. We haven't seen much of it at all from the Hawks this year. That's one of the things we're going to talk to Petey about coming up at 3:00. But I think this is a line specifically that's going to create off the rush, and hopefully Kurashev, when they do get the puck in deep, is a guy they can go retrieve. By the way, Bedard is not an unwilling board guy. He'll go in there and try. Now, he typically doesn't come away with it because he's not fully developed physically yet, but he's willing. And I think Taylor Hall is a bigger, stronger guy than he gets credit for, and he's willing to do it too. If you're going to knock something about the line, that would be it. However, this makes the most sense in terms of balancing it in the context of, but it's a first line as opposed to the Dickinson, Anderson, Bedard line.
Sure.
yeah, sure, it's balanced, but it's not helping anyone.
Right. Like you don't need a guy to go retrieve pucks if you're scoring, off a 2-on-1 rush or
right. Yeah.
Like you don't need now. What I do like about this current line situation is that you have Donato and Bertuzzi together, because as we've talked about many times, Bertuzzi is a guy whose game is styled upon having sustained offensive zone time. Mm-hmm. He's not a guy that's going to score off the rush. He's a guy that needs the puck in the zone and get to the net and do his thing. And having a guy like Donato with him, that line should get sustained offensive time, because you have guys that will go get the puck, and you have Teravainen out there that can create and help get that puck to the front of the net, where hopefully Bertuzzi is waiting either for a rebound or for a redirect.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that these, as you kind of said, Mario, make the most sense in terms of balancing. And Luke talked about Teuvo today and his versatility, and how Luke kind of has to stop himself from using him all the time and overusing him a little bit. And he mentioned how Donato is a shoot first kind of a guy, which is a nice fit on that line. I like the top two. The fourth line's working, so they make sense. For the first time in a while, they make a lot of sense.
Yeah, as a whole forwards group, yeah. First time in a while that it feels like first time since basically the start of the season. At the start of the season, I feel like it was just like, yep, I think everyone's kind of slotting in where they should. And then from first 3-4 games on, it's just been new lineups every game almost. So yeah, this is a group that I think feels right. We'll see how it looks against the Stars.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of the Stars, before we hit the break zone, there was one piece of video I wanted to share from today's practice. Connor Murphy was talking to the media and was asked sort of, hey, does it get frustrating when you guys have a great game against Florida and then you can't follow it up with a good performance against the Flyers? Stuff like that has happened all year. And he sort of offers his own theory as to why that's happening. Here's Connor Murphy after practice today.
It's frustrating. Yeah, it's hard to really grasp a single thing for that, other than just to have that hunger and desperation. And you're playing against good teams as an underdog. You go in with a little more excitement, maybe a little more nerves and fear of giving up a lot of goals. So guys are really responsible and dialed in. Whereas maybe against weaker teams, you tend to just kind of play the game out and not have as much of the desperation. But we know with our record that's no matter who we play, we have to have that desire and hunger to win, because we're not in a near good enough place where we should be, and we know that we have a roster capable of a lot more.
I mean, he's pretty much saying that they play down to their opponent, and that's troubling.
Yeah, that's
because there's no one to play down to.
Right.
You're the team.
Except Nashville.
You're the team other teams play down
currently,
to.
I think it's
they're ahead of them now. They beat the
Canadians.
Jets.
I think the Canadians are tied for last now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're the team other teams are supposed to play down to, not the other way around.
Yes, and that's been happening. I guess you could say when you look at the wins they have.
I guess.
Yeah,
it's not. It's obvious. I mean, just watch how they played against Winnipeg and Edmonton, and the 2 games against the Stars have been relatively good. You beat the Panthers, and then you can't beat the Sharks. You blow third period leads to the Ducks and the Flyers. We're not making things up.
No, and that's the frustration.
It's a real thing.
It's happening.
Yeah, well, he sees it, and the fact that he offered it on his own, I thought was interesting, because they're all searching for answers. But look, they see it. If we were seeing it after a game, they're definitely seeing it and feeling it all the time.
Yeah, it's one thing to observe it from bird's eye view. It's another thing to actually be in it and feeling it and being involved in it. So, yeah, I mean, there's just really no way through it other than to play through it and see what happens for these guys, because you've tried everything. So something has got to eventually break through.
You would hope. All right, coming up next, we are going to get some video breakdowns from our pal Steve Peters, the ALLCITY Network senior video hockey analyst. He's coming up next with some thoughts on the Blackhawks possession and a video breakdown of Lukas Reichel's goal the other night. So stick around. We'll be back with more on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
Hey, do you like betting sports?
Yes.
Chances are that answer is
When I win.
yes. So whether it's hockey or basketball or football, pro or college, Circa Sports is the place in Illinois to do your sports betting. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And we're sponsored by Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core. And they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch the Bulls, Hawks, and Sox all season long. All right. Without any further ado, I've done that twice today. Let's bring in our guest. It is the very handsome, the bearded one himself. It's Steve Peters. What's up, Petey? How are you, buddy?
It's a prereq of being on this show.
Handsome. I don't get handsome a lot.
We do not on this show.
Speak for yourself.
So, well, Greg does, yeah.
Well, Greg does that hair, buddy. I'm still, and he didn't wear a hat today.
I didn't. Just for you, buddy. Just for
I
you.
appreciate it.
I had a hat in my hand as I was about to leave the house. Like, nope, Petey's on. I
Nope,
got to give him the
Petey's
full.
on.
I got to give him the full
Get that
mane.
hair. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Greg.
Petey would be outraged if you wore a hat.
I can't do it.
That would
I
be
got to keep
waste.
Petey happy. He's our.
Yeah.
He makes us all look so smart. I have to keep him happy. So
Just
Yeah.
fooling you guys again. That Colton Dach. I tell you that Colton Dach kid's a sharp kid, isn't he? Like,
Yes.
I like that kid. 11
we've-
points, 15 games. Like him. I like him.
We've talked to
6'4".
him a number of times. He's a good good guy to talk to.
good
Pretty
guy.
insightful
We-
for a young player.
we can't wait
Yeah.
till you start doing some Colton Dach NHL goal breakdown videos here. Hopefully, starting tomorrow would be great, but
Starting
it probably
tomorrow.
won't happen. But
Frank Nazar and Colton Dach goals for the Chicago Blackhawks. Coming
that
soon.
would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
He's still in my heart.
All right, so I hit you up after the game on Saturday and said, why do the Hawks never have the puck? And this has been kind of we've talked around it a lot this year, but the bottom line is that the reason this team doesn't score is because they never have it. And people have been critical of Tyler Bertuzzi, who is a guy who thrives in front of the net, but you can't thrive in front of the net unless your team has the puck. So what have you been seeing from the Hawks this year in terms of possession?
You know, the simple answer is they turn the puck over too much, but that's almost too easy to just say, hey, they turn the puck over. It goes deeper than that. It's their ability to make the right play once they do have the puck, and that's what's leading to the turnovers. And they're not making, in my opinion, when a team is struggling, believe me, I've been around the Arizona Coyotes long enough to know that I've been around struggling teams. And when you're around a struggling team that doesn't have those, you know, you've got Connor Bedard, but you don't have a 9-forward group that can move the puck around like that. So what you have to do is you have to simplify the game. And Chicago isn't doing that right now. They're making things really hard on themselves. They're trying to make that perfect play or that, hey, I can loft this puck over 2 sticks and a body to make that great backdoor. We can't. You can't. So you got to look for the open ice, get the puck to the open ice, and then get the puck to the net. And this team isn't doing that enough. And they're not using their defense enough. And because of that, they're turning the puck over way too much. And they just need to make their game more simple, especially when things are going poorly, like they are for Chicago right now. Just make it simple. Make the easy play.
All right, we'll have some questions for you at the other end of the video, but let's fire it up, Nate.
One of the areas the Chicago Blackhawks are struggling is their ability to possess the puck. Let's look at a couple of the areas where they're having difficulties. This one, it starts on the forecheck. They're not getting to pucks first, which is okay on the forecheck, but you just can't let one pass beat 3. So they're not first, but as that defenseman for Philly comes around the net, bank pass off the wall, 1 pass beats 3 Blackhawks. And that play is out of the zone, and Philadelphia is able to beat the forecheck pressure. Here they are again on the forecheck. Again, not first to the puck, but that's okay. But again, 1 pass beats 2. But now what's the play? They don't have enough support from their defense pressure. There is no pinching on the wall for their defensemen. Their defensemen are backing out, looking to make the defensive play. But on a play like this, when you have support and you have the ability of your players above the opponent, the D needs to pinch to try to keep the puck in the offensive zone. They don't. Puck ends up in the neutral zone again. Here you're going to see it again. The forecheck pressure coming down on the Philadelphia Flyers. And again, a hard rim beats 3 forwards. This time, he can't pitch because he has no support. The forward is not above 3, so he's got to back off. And you guessed it, they end up in the neutral zone again. But when they do get possession of the puck, there's more problems in the offensive zone. So here they get first on the puck along the wall on the forecheck. They make the play behind the net. But as that player walks up to the front of the net, what is the play? What's the play from here offensively? This is a tough play to make because not only do you have to beat the player that's right in front of you, you have to thread the needle inside 3 Philadelphia defenders. The easy play for me is keep it simple on a team that's struggling for offense, get it back to the point, and then shoot with traffic. Everybody going to the net. That's the easy play. Unfortunately, try to thread the needle. Puck gets going back the other way. Again, here's a play. What's the play? The play is the play to the middle of the ice when you have all of these defenders in the way and try to make that play, or is the play out to the defense? Shot with traffic. Well, this play goes to the middle. Turnover. Here it is again. Is this the play to make inside all of this traffic? You look at all of the defenders for the Philadelphia Flyers. That's a hard play to make to get it inside all of those players. And again, you're right. Turnover again. Last area they're struggling with is the breakouts, and they're not getting out of their zone quick enough, and they're defending too long. So you look on this play, there is no Chicago winger coming back to support and come back along this wall on this rimmed puck. So Philadelphia player is first. He gets to the inside, and again, it's another turnover, and it's just a quick play down below, and now they're playing in the offensive zone. You're going to see it again. Easy play up the wall, and now it's about execution. This team is really struggling. Gets by the winger on the wall, and again, Philadelphia keeps it in and attacks the net. Here you see it, another easy play along the wall. Well, it gets up to the winger along the wall. Try to make a chip play out to no one at center ice. Philadelphia's defender is right there on the blue line, and Chicago's defending again. Here you see it again. Nice, easy play. This defenseman holds onto the puck too long, makes this play tougher than it needs to be. His partner can't corral the puck. Again, goes to the Flyer who gets there first, and they're defending again. Chicago's going to have to manage the puck better if they're looking to defend less and have more time in the offensive zone.
Oh my God, that is painful.
I know, isn't it though? And it's, I don't know if it's because they watch Bedard and they think, okay, Bedard made a backhand sauce through 3 sticks, so I think I should try it. It's so frustrating when you watch it over and over again. And we didn't even talk about the neutral zone where they're doing the same thing. It's really, really frustrating. And again, they've got NHL players on this team. They just need to make the smart NHL play.
Couple things.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably 3 factors here. Inexperience, coaching, and system.
Who's inexperienced? The players?
The young players. So whereas
This is the 3rd oldest team in the NHL.
well, sure. But if you got a guy like Kurashev or Bedard or whoever behind the net, the first one you documented where we're trying to pass between a triangle of 3 Flyers, maybe that play works in junior or college or in Rockford or whatever, and it doesn't work in the AHL. And look, we've seen it from Bedard where we have said out loud, that play will not work in the NHL. Yeah. I don't care if you're Connor Bedard. Connor McDavid would not try to make that play because it's 1-on-3 and it's not going to work. So I think that could be part of it. The other thing is, if it's constantly failing like this, and we talked about the coaching last week, like we're a quarter into the season here. How is this message not getting through, or is it not even being relayed? That's what concerns me is like, we've noticed, Mario said it while the video was playing, like we've noticed all year, like where is the D at the blue line? We've watched hockey for, between the 3 of us, probably 90 years of hockey watching experience. And you see things that are like, I've never seen that before. My brain told me there should be a defenseman there and there's not. What is going on? That's
that's the biggest problem on that forecheck right now. And we talked about being first to the puck. Hey, that's hard. Unless Edmonton Oilers are going to get first on the puck because of some of their speed. They are. But most often that defenseman is closer, is going to be you to the puck. But you have to keep the puck in the offensive zone to get any offensive zone pressure and shots on goal and create chances and goals. I was surprised how little the defensemen get involved for the Chicago Blackhawks. And it's not for lack of speed or foot speed or the ability to do that. Connor Murphy's been around a long time. He can move down off of that blue line and get involved. And you've got some young defensemen back there that are quick enough to make those plays. And I'm telling you, the best teams in the league keep the puck in on the blue line. That's where you're able to sustain offensive zone pressure because you are going to get beat off of the forecheck, especially teams that are really aggressive. I think that's an area that they can clean up. But to your point, what's the system? So to me, that's looking like that defenseman is not supposed to pinch, which tells me, and I've been on teams that did this too, that knew the puck was coming back. We are going to give up chances. We're more concerned with protecting the rush than we are generating offense. And that's what this looks like to me with Chicago. They're so afraid of giving up those continual odd man rushes against that their D are just backing out. As soon as that first pass is made, they're backing out. And unfortunately, you can't have any offensive zone time when you do that.
So, okay, where's the line? I know you need to play better defense when you're not scoring because if you give up 2 goals, the game's over. But it's such a fine line between we have to play defense or should we try to get more offense? To me, you should be trying to get more offense.
Well, I think to me, it's playing the right way all the time. And I guess I liken this. When you're coaching against the Edmonton Oilers, you have to coach differently against one player. And when Connor McDavid is on the ice, and you have to tell your entire team this, when he's on the ice, we're going to play defensive. And we're going to stay above Connor McDavid. And we're not going to take any chances. We're not throwing pucks to the middle when Connor McDavid is on the ice. And players have to think, and players have to react to that one player. When you're saying it consistently over time, the issue is that these habits become ingrained. And they become easy, and they become that second nature. But you want your players now, even if Chicago is going to make that play. I don't coach Chicago Blackhawks. This is not my job on the line. I don't have to worry about it. But I do think that if you get your younger defenseman right now thinking, okay, I'm going to read if I've got support, meaning there's a forward coming back to help me defend. And there were in some of those cases. If that play is there, I have to read that, and I have to make that part of my read, and I'm going to hold the blue line. I'm going to pinch. And I think if you start doing that now for a Vlasic, who's a young player now, do it now. And you know what? If he makes a mistake, the puck gets chipped past him and it's a 2-on-1 and it's a goal. Okay, you're giving up the goal. But when he does it 2 years from now, and now it's second nature, and now he jumps in off the blue line and he holds the puck in for Bedard, who makes a great play to Frank Nazar, and it's a goal, you're going, okay, he got that confidence because he was able to do that play 2 years ago. So I think it's really important to start building those successful habits today for what you want this team to be tomorrow. And that's where you worry about this backing off. We talked about it last time with that mentality of losing creates losing. And you don't want this team to have the bad habits that make you lose longer than you need to. This team is going to lose right now. Sorry, they are. This team is going to lose now, but make those habits every day, second nature. I'm going to go. Even if you go too often, even if you make that mistake, you're almost willing to accept that versus backing off all the time into the neutral zone.
I think we'd all rather see them lose 6-4 than 3-2, 3-1 because they're just playing scared. And that's how it seems like right now. And you're outlining it perfectly, PD. Like, they are playing not to lose. And sometimes they're able to hold on. Because I have a list of the teams they've beaten this year. We talk about this all the time. Edmonton, San Jose, Colorado, LA, Anaheim, Minnesota, Florida. Good teams, right? For the most part. And then it's a totally, and even in those games they win, they just hang on, right? It's a matter of, did time expire before the opponent could beat them?
Right.
That's how it feels after every win. It's like, wiping the brow. Last night, San Jose scored 7 goals on the LA Kings. San Jose, that's a team that was supposed to be by far the worst team in the league this year, and they're out there putting up 7 on the Kings. I know. Every year a team gets a game like that, but I'm watching that game with the single tear falling from my eye. What is that like?
It wasn't even the Colorado Avalanche they were playing either.
Yeah, it's why is this team incapable of it? And again, as we were doing our preseason predictions, we're looking at this roster and saying they should be significantly improved, and they have not. They're right back where they were before, and I wonder if it's now a coach saying, well, my option's up at the end of this year. I've got to try to get as many wins as I can. Mm-hmm. But to me, if I'm in Kyle Davidson's seat, and Lord willing, someday I will be, I'm saying this is the worst possible thing because Bedard is regressing. He's losing confidence. He's growing frustrated. Everything this team should be doing should be for Connor Bedard, top to bottom.
Agreed.
Find a way to get him going, and defense be damned if someone's got a pinch to keep the puck in the zone for a longer shift so he gets 3-4 more shots on goal a game, so be it. A loss is a loss, be it 6-4 or 3-1.
6-1-0 this team is when scoring 3 goals this season.
6-4-0 and scoring 3 goals.
6-1-0.
6-1-0.
6-1-0 when they get 3 goals. 3 goals that crazy to think of? I don't think so.
And you got 2 goalies playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
That have nothing to show for it.
And I think the defense would love to play that way. And I think the forwards would be, hey, you know what? Let's give it a go. Like, honestly, what do we have to lose? We're not making the playoffs. We're clearly not going to win the Stanley Cup. Let's make this a little more fun. Let's create some offense because that is fun. But you're right, because I was with Dave Tippett, and I keep throwing these old references in, but I was with Dave Tippett on a really bad team back in 2015, and it was literally, we called it the Polish defending. And what the Polish team did against Team Canada is they stood 5 guys around their net and they threw the puck out over the blue line and just hoped they could eventually get a breakaway some point in the game and survive 1-0. That's how we played. Win 1-0 every night. Try to win 1-0. And right now, Chicago looks like they're trying not to lose as opposed to trying to win. And you're right. I think this defense is good enough, quick enough, and talented enough. I think Allen, Vlasic, Murphy, definitely Martinez when he's healthy. I think they can all play that style of hockey. And when you can't, when you are TJ Brody and you're aware of your deficiencies, guess what? You play a little different. I think when you have that, don't take chances that you're going to get blown out of the water. You're not going to get to the puck first. So you play it a little differently. He's experienced enough to understand that. But you're right. I think that this team is going to have to find a way to generate more offense because it's about Bedard, and he's not getting the touches in the offensive zone that he needs to get because they don't have the puck in the offensive zone. So he's not getting the opportunity to do that. And you see at the breakout, Bedard, you said off the show, top of the show, he's better off of the rush. They're turning the puck over when they gain possession in the breakouts too, because that's not a 5-man breakout. You got one defenseman just rimming the puck. Wings aren't back in the zone yet because they're not hurrying back to get there. It's a 5-man unit to get the puck out of the zone. And right now, I don't feel that they're on the same page. And I hate throwing that all on Luke Richardson. I think you have some players that are not playing within that system. And we've mentioned names before. I don't know if I need to do that. But there are guys that just are not going to play in the system. Taylor Hall and Tyler Bertuzzi are not great system players. They're not. But Taylor Hall is going to go where the puck is. And maybe that'll help Bedard tonight. And maybe they will get their speed going. And maybe that is the answer to get something going. We'll have to see.
I also think something, too, as you talk about the breakouts not working because they're not 5 men, when you're defending forever, as soon as you get the puck out, your D is going to go off for a change because they have to. So they can't join the rush. So where a normal team would have a 5-man rush with 2, defensemen going to the blue line, waiting for a drop pass or whatever, you've got 2 guys who are out of gas, changing as quickly as they can, and you've got 3 forwards versus 5 defenders. And what comes of that? A pass that's intercepted, hit someone in a skate, whatever, and you don't have a lot of options. So
it's frustrating, Jay. We saw this team I was on a couple shows ago, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how well this team played for 2 periods through the neutrals and how well they defended and got puck going the other way. We've seen this team play like that. They have the ability to do that, to defend well and turn pucks over and go the other way. They just haven't done it. Not only consistently game to game, it's as Mario was saying earlier, they're not consistently doing it from period to period or shift to shift. And I think that's one of the other big issues. They can do it. They've done it. We've seen it. And they said against good hockey teams, they just need to find a way and the confidence and the ability to do it more than just 1 shift or 2 shifts. That's got to be period to period and then game to game and then 3 out of 4. And then that's what builds on this. And you just get better because you're consistent. And that's the frustrating part watching this team right now is they just don't do it consistently. You know that they have it. They just don't do it.
Yeah. I think a lot of times too, the Hawks struggles are dismissed as, well, they're just not talented. And it's, you look up and down the roster, and it's guys who have been important parts of good teams for their entire careers.
They're the most talented they've been in the last 2.5 years.
All right, well, we want to end on some happy news, so why don't we take a look at Lukas Reichel's goal? That was exciting. Remember when the Hawks had a lead?
It was a goal. If they had a lead again,
Yeah.
2-goal lead in that game, 10 minutes, 14 minutes left in the game. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, you fall back. Should we fire up the video? You want to lead into it anyway here?
No, I just think it's showing that sometimes there needs to Chicago gets lucky on this goal, but that's okay. And I think you create your own luck by hard work and trying to move your feet. And I know they're late getting back into the zone, but they create this goal by moving their feet. And it starts with Connor Murphy.
All right, let's do it.
Sometimes it takes a little luck to score in the National Hockey League. Let's go to Reichel's first goal against the Philadelphia Flyers, and it starts out in the offensive zone. Reichel has full possession along the half wall. Maroon's in for support, and Smith's in front of the net. Everything looks great until Reichel falls down, and Philadelphia gets the puck, and they go back the other way. Everybody with full steam, and Chicago has 3 players trapped in the offensive zone. As the play gets to the blue line, Philadelphia has a 4-on-2. Unlucky for a little lucky break as they try to make the pass in to tip it. It goes off his foot, and he's unable to control the play, which allows Murphy just to slap at the puck. He's just getting it out of danger. He's just getting out of the way of the 4-on-2, and it goes right to center ice to Maroon, who's at the center ice, still not back into the zone yet to defend. And it's Reichel and Smith just turn around and start going back the other way. And as Reichel gets the puck to Maroon at the blue line, he continues to drive through the middle lane, which allows Maroon to pull all the defenders to him from the Philadelphia Flyers. And he's able to make an unbelievable pass to Reichel over his stick. Reichel taps it into the net for his second goal of the season. We talk about speed, though, but Reichel, those are the things you want to see from Lukas Reichel. You want to see that burst of speed from the blue line in, presents himself, makes a really good play, and gets his second goal of the season. Those are the little bright spots that this team needs to look for. Even when you lose, you need to walk away going, okay, that was a positive today.
We have seen that from Reichel this year. I would say probably more than anyone, is he has been aggressive with the speed, weaving through traffic, trying to make things happen. He has, oddly enough, looked the best with Pat Maroon and Craig Smith. It's kind of inexplicable, but we have sort of chalked it up to, well, he says, I'm the only guy in this line that can do anything, so I'm going to do it. I don't really know why that line's working, but it is. And a lot of people want to move him up with Bedard or whatever. Keep Reichel there. Let him keep thriving. Let him keep playing well. I'd like to see them play a little more than, what was it, like 12 minutes last game?
Somebody had a stat. I want to ask PD about it, about Reichel. When he plays more than 13 minutes a game in his career, his numbers like go way down. Is that a thing, PD, where like a guy has a sweet spot? Where like
there is.
Where like if we play him between 10 and 11 minutes, we're gonna get the most out of him. But the second he goes over 13, he's just not good for whatever reason. That exists.
It is, and it's not just the players like Lukas Reichel who's still trying to learn and find his way. It's players like McDavid and Draisaitl, and you could see them too. And I think that's one of the shortcomings Jay Woodcroft had and problems he had, is he played those two guys too much, so they ran out of gas, and the guys that are sitting on the bench too long. So there's a software that is used by coaches on the bench that you can set what you want your players to hit as their target for the period, and you'll start to see those colors change from black to green to orange to red. And so you want to go, hey, I got to limit, that guy's getting way too much. The first thing a coach grabs when he comes into the coach's room between periods is the timesheet. Gosh, I'm playing that guy way too much. Hey, I'm not getting him on the ice enough. I got to get him going. I got to get him on the ice more. So they absolutely have guys that they feel, hey, I got to back him off. Even though it looks like he's really going, we're going to burn him out by the third period. He's not going to play. So they do have those sweet spots. I think Reichel's got to be a guy that's got to add, when he's getting there, and this team again is ready to win, he's a guy that he's going to have to play a lot more minutes than that to be a successful player in this roster. But right now, maybe that's where he does fit. Maybe he does it. Maybe he tires him. Maybe make tired mistakes as you play too much. So yeah, I think it's an effective use of his ice time.
He's playing with confidence, and I don't want that to go away. He's one of the few Hawks that is actually playing with confidence. And I pointed out to you after you sent the video, something that really stood out to me on that play is as he's going to the net, he takes a little piece of Travis Sanheim's stick, to give a little swat or a little hook or whatever, just to get it out of the lane there. Kind of a heady play that you probably wouldn't have seen from him in years past. Yeah,
did you see that from the press box, Jay?
I did.
That's honest to goodness.
You saw it from the couch over there. That was a road game.
Oh, it was a road game. That's right.
Okay, that would be impressive
view.
from the
Yeah.
But those are the little details. And I tell you what, because that came up and you pointed that out, and so I went and watched it again. I go, gosh, that's a really good little detail that I didn't see it happen that fast. And you're right, just a little bump of Sanheim turns, it makes Sanheim turn his hips, and he can't get in front that shot. Little details like that. And when you're watching video, that's why this is a collaborative effort. When you watch video, oftentimes the whole coaching staff will sit around and talk about a play, and happened again today when you and I were talking about the face-off goal against the other day that Foligno took the draw, and Luke Richardson spoke on that goal, and he was talking about Foligno being at fault here, and I saw it differently, but that's something as a coaching staff you sit down and go, okay, who, why, what, and what created that goal. So it's always good to get different perspectives, and sometimes I sit in here at my desk thinking I'm know all be all, and clearly I'm wrong. And so I was humbled a little bit. But
well, yeah, that video is going to be out later. We're having some technical issues with that video. Not your fault. It's like a YouTube flub with it, so we haven't been able to get it out yet. But
it's out there.
Oh, it's out there now.
Oh,
sweet. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's kind of neat.
So what Luke said was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mario,
Yes.
that Vlasic was supposed to stay there an extra tick before he went over, and Mrazek was square to the shooter, and then Foligno didn't catch him or didn't get back in time.
Yeah, it's supposed to have Vlasic stay at the net front because the goalie can make the push to challenge the shooter, but can't make the second push to cover the back door as well if Vlasic's taking the shooter there. That was his.
And he also wanted Nick Foligno to. He took it. What he was talking about specifically was the very last play, the pass that came to Couturier in front of the net from the defenseman coming down, and where we backed it right up to the draw, and that's where I think the confusion happened to Mikheyev and Foligno up high. That's the original confusion. But you're right, when that play goes down to that D, you cannot give that backdoor pass, and Foligno and Vlasic both go to the defenseman coming down the wall and leave Couturier all alone in front of the net. What he wanted to do is he wanted Vlasic to hold and then front the puck, and he wanted Foligno to collapse straight down to the front of the net. So that was how that video should have ended, with Foligno collapsing at the net. But it's still an interesting watch, I think.
All right, Petey. Well, we're gonna let you go, man. We love you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Petey at S Peters Hockey on Twitter and now on Blue Sky.
I know. How about that?
Same handle, right?
Yeah, same handle.
Same handle.
Enjoy it.
Beautiful.
Enjoy the Turkey Day, guys. And I do get concerned at looking at the upcoming schedule, as I'm sure you guys have as well. There's some tough games coming up for the Chicago Blackhawks, and they're just going to have to play mistake-free hockey for the next 10 days.
They
Good
play
teams.
their best against the good teams,
Yeah.
so they're
They
probably
do.
going to come out of this with a
7-game
winning
winning
record.
streak coming.
Yeah.
They will. They come out. They're
heard
coming
it
out of
here
this
first.
above 500. You wait
Yeah,
and
this
see,
is,
right?
This is the
Okay.
stretch that turns the season around.
Here we go.
We'll revisit it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, Petey. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Petey.
That is Steve Peters, our All-City hockey senior analyst.
Lucas
Love him.
Reichel, under 13 minutes this year, has both of his goals and 5 points. Over 13 minutes has 3 assists, and it's about even the amount of time that he's played.
But that mathematically doesn't make sense because he got those numbers in the 13-minute games. If he played 18 minutes, the numbers wouldn't go away. He
No,
still
I'm
got
saying
those
the
numbers.
games in which he played those minutes.
Well, I
He-
know that.
Yeah.
But he got those. So let's say he got the points at the 10-minute mark and the 11-minute mark. If he plays 19 minutes, he still has those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
So it's not like he loses them if the ice time goes up.
no, that's no. But if you're, but I'm saying if you're to the point of the minutes restriction or load management or however you want to classify it, if he knows he's on a 12, 13-minute basis, then maybe he is making the most of each shift, knowing that they're limited. Whereas if he thinks he's playing 16, 17, 18 minutes, his mentality changes.
You shouldn't do that.
Could be a thing. Yeah, you don't
all
want
right.
to do that. You want
Yeah.
to make the most of every shift, but it's hard to
We
do.
are going to wrap up the
Should call a
televised
show
portion of the show. Then we're going to drive a railroad spike into the Jim Montgomery story because I'm already tired of hearing it. So stick around if you're watching us on YouTube. Head over to allchgo.com to follow along. If you're not, we want to tell you we've got a Black Friday deal going on right now for diehards at store.allcitynetwork.com. Check your email. You will have received a promo code to save 30% at our store, store.allcitynetwork.com. So take advantage of that right now. And then we got some other stuff coming up later in the week you should keep your eye on because the Black Friday is coming too.
Sure is.
Lots of good stuff. There's already some really cool designs on sale throughout the network, so jump in on those and save on top of the already sale price. And if you're not a diehard yet, it's very easy to do that. Go to allchgo.com, become a diehard today. You get a free shirt or hat upon sign up, 20% off all of our merch, 20% off all of our takeovers and events and watch parties and all that great stuff. You get access to our members-only Discord, all of our great written content. Mario talked to Oliver Moore last week. Pigs and Puck published today, right? Yesterday. Morning Chirps will be out after tomorrow's game. Lots of great stuff. Pays for itself. AllCHGO.com. Become a diehard today. But if you missed the news, the St. Louis Blues fired Drew Bannister and hired Jim Montgomery just days after he was let go by the Boston Bruins. And I saw a lot of Hawks fans, even in the chat today, saying, I thought Jim Montgomery wanted to go to a contender. Jim Montgomery wanted to go to a contender or the Blues. This seems like a foregone conclusion. If you want to listen to the latest 32 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman, he pretty much tells you why from jump. If you notice, they didn't make Bannister the full-time coach until, what was it, May?
It was the day after the Bruins advanced to the second round of the postseason.
Yes,
last year,
because they were waiting to see if they lost in the first round to Toronto, that they thought maybe Jim Montgomery gets fired, and then the Blues hire him. Mm-hmm. He's got ties to St. Louis. This was pretty much a foregone conclusion.
He played there as a player.
Yes,
it was Doug Armstrong and the Blues that gave him his first coaching chance after he was fired from Dallas.
Yes,
and went to rehab for his alcohol dependency. He was an assistant with the Blues. There was a relationship there. Those are things that, like, okay, yeah, we were all said he'll go to a contender, and a lot of contenders would have hired him, but you know, that St. Louis stuff was pretty glaring. But
got a 5-year deal too.
Yeah, I mean, that helps too.
It was probably the deal that they were ready to send over to him.
There's also another reason why Drew Bannister only got a 2-year deal. Like, it's pretty obvious Doug Armstrong has been waiting for his moment, and he pretty much admitted. I feel bad for Drew Bannister in this situation, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes so he was never going to come to the Blackhawks. I said he was never going to come to the Blackhawks because he wanted to go to a contender. But he was never going to come to the Blackhawks because he was going to go to the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not in tune with St. Louis Blues.
I mean,
if it wasn't the Blues,
it wasn't
going to be a contender.
Yeah, right. And I think too, if you're looking at strictly an NHL job, probably say St. Louis is more attractive in this moment than Chicago, because St. Louis is kind of underperforming, but they have some injury issues, whereas Chicago is underperforming and it's a player issue.
Yeah, I mean, you look at St. Louis, and it's definitely a team that is, if you squint hard enough, could make the playoffs this year. They've gotten off to an okay start, inconsistent, but you know, but they're a team of that, you know, a team that they tried to extend their window. Mm-hmm. They traded Tarasenko and O'Reilly in season a couple years ago. They had the big offer sheets.
The offer sheets with
this year with Holloway and Broberg. So they're trying to stay contenders. They're not tearing it down.
No.
Which, you know, eventually is going to catch up to them as the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I mean, they're just going to be what they've always been.
Yeah.
And they'll get lucky, and once in how long have the Blues been around? 60-some years?
It will be
70?
67. They were part of the first, so
they'll
almost 60 years.
They'll luck into a cup every 60 years.
Every 58 years.
Yeah, and then they'll just be mid, and that'll be it.
Sure.
Look, if I'm a free agent coach and I'm choosing between the Blues and the Hawks for the next 5 years, I know it sounds like hometown bias, but I'm taking the Hawks. If I'm projecting these two teams down the road 5 years from now,
well, I mean, yeah, maybe that might be true for most coaches, but it seems like with all the connections that Jim Montgomery has, that superseded anything.
So. It was going to happen, apparently.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying generally.
Yeah, no, in all things being equal, no connection to St. Louis. Yeah, you would think a lot of coaches would pick the Hawks just for the fact that, I get to have Connor Bedard and I get to have all these young players come up. Where you look at the Blues had to do that offer sheet because their prospect system is not. There's not a lot of young players there, but that's also a product of being buyers instead of sellers at the trade deadline every year, you eventually deplete your draft capital and your prospect pool. But we get to see Jim Montgomery at the Winter Classic now. Good for him.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Will Luke Richardson be there?
I don't know. Probably.
Yes, he will be.
Someone in the chat was asking about Soderblom and Petey. I think it was 2 visits ago. Petey did an in-depth breakdown of Soderblom's changes from last year to this. It's Anthony Toney said it. Thank you, Nate, for putting that up. So go find it from whatever. It was
either last
3
week
weeks ago. It wasn't
2
last
weeks
week.
ago.
I think it was 2 weeks ago, and we had Petey on. Did a really in-depth breakdown of what has changed in Soderblom's game, and it was awesome. Great stuff. So check that out. Thanks to Petey. Thanks to Colton Dach for coming on. Thanks to the IceHogs for making that happen. We'll be back tomorrow after Hawks and Stars post-game right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.